Hey, what's up guys, it's Dark Arm Duels, and today I'm going to be profiling my tunes. And I'm really excited to show you guys this deck because this deck is a really awesome deck that basically plays all sorts of nostalgic ace monsters like Red Eyes Black Dragon, Toon Dark Magician, Toon Blackluster Soldier, and even Toon Blue Eyes White Dragon, just in their toon forms, which is a really awesome concept. I really love this deck because it plays all those nostalgic monsters in one deck. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome awards, like getting your name in the description for a single video, getting a signed card in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into it. So first off, I'm going to be playing 3 copies of Toon Blackluster Soldier because it's arguably the best one, and it has the greatest effect because it can actually special summon itself out from your hand very easily. It cannot be normal summoner set, it must be special summoned from your hand by attributing toon monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal 8 or more, which is really easy in this deck because this deck plays a lot of high level toon monsters, so this is very easy to achieve. It also has the ability that while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no toon monsters, this card can attack directly, which just about every single one of your toons have that ability to be able to attack your opponent directly if they don't control a toon. And then once per turn, if you control Toon World, you can target a card on the field and banish it, but this card can't attack for the rest of the turn after this effect is activated, which is a really good effect just to give you a little bit of spot removal and a 3k beat stick. We then play just a single copy of Toon Blue Eyes. This card is a really fun card to be able to play in the deck because being able to play all the nostalgic ones is just really cool. You can drop it if you want to for something else like an Upstart Goblin or something like that, or a Monster Reborn if you want to, but I love playing one copy because it's just super cool to be able to play Toon Blue Eyes, Toon Red Eyes, and Toon Dark Magician all in the same deck. Like the original Ace trio is just really awesome. We then play 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. This card is really good in the deck. It has the ability that it can't attack the turn it's summoned, and while you control Toon World and your opponent doesn't control a toon, you can attack your opponent directly. But also you can activate one of these effects by discarding a toon or a Manga Reran from your hand, which we don't play Manga Reran in this deck, but you can basically discard a toon card from your hand to either special summon a toon from your deck, except another copy of itself, or add a toon spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Being able to special summon a toon from the deck is extremely powerful just to be able to get any of your toon monsters to your side of the field when you need them. We then play 2 copies of Toon Red Eyes. Toon Red Eyes lets us special summon a toon monster from the hand, which is very good for this deck to be able to just instantly special summon out any of the toon monsters that we particularly need directly from the deck. So that's pretty much it for the high level toons we play. If you want to change out the Blue Eyes for like a Toon Cyber Dragon, you totally can. That is an option for you guys. It basically can special summon itself out to your side of the field if you don't control a monster and your opponent controls a monster, just like the regular Cyber Dragon, and can attack your opponent directly as well. That is an option for you guys if you don't want to play the Blue Eyes. The Blue Eyes one's okay, but I just like playing it because it's nostalgic. We then play 3 copies of Toon Mermaid. I love playing Toon Mermaid in this deck because this card is extremely easy to summon in the deck. All you have to do is control Toon World and you can special summon this card from the hand, which is all what's basically said in all of that old school text because I have the old Magic Ruler versions. But basically this card can special summon itself from your hand to your side of the field, and you have to pay 500 life points to attack with this card. If Toon World's destroyed, then you destroy this card. It's still a really good card to be able to special summon to your side of the field because it's a level 4 water monster, which gives us access to Bahamut Shark, which in turn gives us access to Totally Awesome, which is really cool because Totally Awesome kind of looks like a toon. We then play 3 copies of Toon Harpy Lady. Toon Harpy Lady is a really good card as well. If you control Toon World, you can special summon her from your hand, and then if you control another toon monster, you can destroy a spell or trap on the field, which is really helpful because basically it's just a free special summon of a level 4 monster, which gives us access to all sorts of different cards in the deck, and the extra deck for rank 4 plays, and it gives us an additional toon on the side of the field to be able to attack our opponent. So this card is a really good 3 of in this deck. We then play 3 copies of the Blackstone of Legend. Now this card is a very neat card in this deck because this card basically has the effect that you contribute it to special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, except another copy of itself. So you can actually special summon out the Toon Red Eyes Black Dragon to your side of the field, and then once you summon out Toon Red Eyes to your side of the field, you can then bring out a copy of Toon Dark Magician from your hand, and then it kind of just goes from there, which is why we play this at 2 and 3, because if you play them at 2 and 3, you won't see this one in your hand as often, but if you do, you still have that second one in the deck, which is why I play 2 of them. And then Toon Dark Magician you always want to see in your opening hand, because if you can actually draw out the copy of the Black Stone of Legend along with Toon Dark Magician, you're essentially going to get it out on your side of the field for free to then resolve its effect, special summon out a third toon on your side of the field, which is really awesome. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Double or Nothing, because you can actually use Double or Nothing with the level 4 toon monsters to make Utopia double, and then make it into a 5,000 beat stick by overlaying a Utopia on top of it just by detaching material. It lets you search the copy of Double or Nothing, and then you attack your opponent with the Utopia, detaching a material from that Utopia at 5,000, and then dropping Double or Nothing to attack again for 10,000, which is really good, just to be able to kind of OTK your opponent if they leave anything on the field that has 2,000 or less attack points. You can basically use any 2 level 4 toon monsters, make the Utopia double, and instantly win the game, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave just to stop our opponent from hand trapping us. This card is just a good one of in the deck to play in here. You can change it out for Monster Reborn since we play so many high level monsters, but this card is totally fine just as a one of for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. Toon Table of Contents lets us add any toon card from our deck to our hand. Literally anything. It can be a spell, it can be a trap, it can be a monster, anything that you need. This card basically has you. It makes it so you're playing like 5, 6 copies of every single toon card in the deck, because this card is essentially a wild card that says, hey, you can grab anything you want. We then play 3 copies of Toon Bookmark. Toon Bookmark is another searcher, because this deck totally needed another searcher. This card is very helpful in the deck because it has the ability to add a Toon World or a card that specifically lists Toon World and its text from your deck to your hand. This card can search so many different cards in the deck, and usually what you're going to want to do is activate Toon Table of Contents and then grab Toon Bookmark, because when this card's in your graveyard after you've used it, if you control Toon World would be destroyed by card effect, then you can banish this card from your graveyard instead, which is super helpful for this deck to give you a little bit of protection for your field spell in the form of Toon Kingdom, because it counts as Toon World while on the field. We then play 3 copies of Toon Page Flip. Toon Page Flip is a very, very good card in this deck, and actually really, really crazy, because what this card does is if you control Toon World, you can reveal 3 toons in your deck with different names. Your opponent randomly picks one of them, and you special summon it to your side of the field, ignoring its summoning conditions, and you shuffle the rest back in the deck. Usually you're going to want to reveal Red Eyes, Dark Magician, and Blackluster Soldier with this card to instantly get you a really big beat stick on your side of the field, which is just really, really awesome. We then play 3 copies of Toon Kingdom. Toon Kingdom is insanely good in this deck, and it's going to be the card that you're going to want to get to ASAP. This card is really, really good, because what it does is when it's activated, you banish the top 3 cards of your deck, which is not even that big a deal, because we're playing like 3 of just about everything in the deck that we need. And then what it does is this card becomes Toon World while on the field, which is really good that it's a field spell, because you don't want to play the old school Toon World because it just sits in the back row and you have to pay 1,000 to activate it, where this basically just says, hey, banish 3, and it gives your toons protection. Because if a toon monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, which is very important for a tech card that we're going to be playing in a minute, it has the ability that you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck for each monster that was going to be destroyed. That is a really good effect, just to be able to banish any card off the top of our deck to be able to protect every single toon on our side of the field for each one, which is really cool. So for example, if I control 3 toons and my opponent activates a Raigeki or a Dark Pole on their side of the field, I can just banish the top 3 cards in my deck and protect every single one of the toons, which is really helpful. We then play 3 copies of Comic Can. Comic Can lets us take our opponent's monsters, basically like Snatch Steal. If you control a toon monster, you can basically, or if you control Toon World, you can equip this card to an opponent's monster and take control of that monster, and that monster is treated as a toon, which is really good for this deck to be able to basically just grab a really powerful monster away from your opponent, and then that monster can attack your opponent directly, which is just insane. This card is a great 3 of in the deck. It does say Toon World in the text, so it's searchable by Toon Table, or by Toon Bookmark, but it's not searchable by Toon Table of Contents, but it's still a really good search for the deck and a great 3 of in this build. We then play for the last 3 spells. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, because you don't super have to have the extra deck. It does help the deck to play a couple of extra deck cards, but you don't have to have it. So this card comes in very handy just to be able to banish 3 or 6 off the top of the deck. You're always, or not 3 or 6 off the top of the deck, but 3 or 6 from the extra deck to be able to draw 2 cards, 1 or 2 cards off the top of the deck. You're always going to banish 6 from the extra deck to draw the 2 cards, but you can't draw for the rest of the turn. But this deck doesn't play any other draw power, so this card is perfect as a 3 of. So that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps that we're playing. We're just playing 3 traps, and we're actually playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. So this card is a really awesome tech card. This card was used against me in a stream where I was streaming over at Sterling Games, but this card is really good and really insane, and I have to give a quick shout out to one of my patrons, Slade. This card was actually played against me, and I fell in love with the tech card in the deck because if you actually use this with Toon Kingdom on your side of the field, you can actually protect all of your toons from the Torrential Tribute, which is really insane. You can just activate the Toon Kingdom on your side of the field, and then you can have any toon on your side of the field, like a Blackluster Soldier. And then when your opponent summons during their turn, you can flip this, banish the top card off of your deck for each toon that you're protecting from the Torrential Tribute, and then you'll keep your monsters, and your opponent won't keep theirs, which will interrupt combos. So this card is a great interruption against your opponent, and definitely shout out to Slade because he is actually the one that showed me this tech, and it's a really, really good tech for this deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Flare Metal. Flare Metal is really good. You can make it with any 2 level 7 toon monsters. Basically, you're going to use your copies of Dark Magician and Red Eyes to summon this card, and every time your opponent breathes, they're going to take 500 points of damage. This card is an absolute great 3-of in the deck, and I definitely recommend, if you're going to play an extra deck with this deck, I would definitely recommend playing 3 Flare Metals, because this card comes up a lot. Once your toons attack your opponent directly, and then they have lost a couple of life points, you can actually just summon a Flare Metal during main phase 2, and then this card will give you a lot of protection where your opponent's just going to basically burn themselves out during the next turn. We then play 2 copies of Utopia Double, because you can make a 10,000 beat stick using Utopia. Basically, you just detach a material from it like before. You just detach a material from it, search Double or Nothing, overlay with Utopia on top of it. Utopia comes out at 5,000. You can then attack your opponent with Utopia, not directly, but into a monster. Detach a material, negate the attack, and then drop Double or Nothing to attack again for 10,000, winning the game, which is a really awesome combo for this deck. Played 2 copies of Tornado Dragon. I did bump in the Tornado Dragons from the previous build. They were not in here, just to give me a little bit more popping of spells and traps and stuff like that, just to give me a little bit more removal. I like playing the double Tornado Dragon in here because it does help me out a lot to be able to just pop any back row that I have problems with, like Imperial Orders and stuff like that. So this card comes in really, really helpful in this deck. We play 2 copies of number 60 because it can double the attack of our toon monsters when they attack directly. So this card is really good. It can help us draw 2, discard 1, which is just really helpful for the deck. We play 2 copies of Bahamut Shark because it can let you special not Totally Awesome by detaching a material. And we play 2 copies of Totally Awesome just to go with the Bahamut Shark because this gives us a negate, which is really good just to be able to negate literally anything against our opponent. And it's totally awesome. It's a really awesome card. You got to play 2 of it. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's a really fun deck to play with. I really recommend that you guys, if you haven't played with toons before, it is one of my favorite decks. I love playing around with this deck. It's super fun to play around with. Like, it's a little bit expensive with the Toon Blackluster Soldiers, the Kingdoms, and stuff like that, but it is well worth it to have a really cool nostalgic deck. Hopefully they'll reprint some of the stuff in the future. Again, like they reprinted Toon Kingdom, but they haven't reprinted Bookmark, Page Flip, or Toon BLS because it came out in Toon Chaos. But hopefully eventually they'll give us some more Toon support and they'll reprint it again. So anyways, guys, this is Dark Arm Duels. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.